Hey, what's up, guys? Just a quick announcement before today's episode of Squawk and Seas that we ran into a little bit of an audio issue this week. There is a very apparent echo happening in the background during someone's audio recording. I didn't hear it on my end when I was recording, so I wasn't able to catch it when it happened. The only workaround I was able to find is that I completely nixed my audio on my side of the track, so you're gonna see me talking into a microphone, but it's gonna sound like I'm coming out of George's computer speakers. It was the most, audible workaround I was able to find. I apologize if this episode isn't up to the snuff that it usually is, but we're gonna make sure this doesn't happen for next week's episode. But still a good talk. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and we'll catch you next week. Bye, everyone. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Squawk and Seas podcast, a podcast that can be affectionately for the birds. My name is Kyle. I am one of your talking heads on the podcast, and I'm joined by my co-host, as I have been every week so far. It's the Pony Bottle Champ, Mr. George Fabre. George, happy Tuesday. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, brother? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. I feel like I haven't seen you in like a week.
Yeah,
I haven't.
Yeah, you haven't. You abandoned us on Friday of the long challenge plus pre-release. It was a long day. Hung out with Harrell for far too long.
That could, kill many people. But no, shout out to Harrell. But yeah, we have quite the busy week of stuff to talk about. We are, at the time of recording this, about a week or so away from Baltimore Regionals. So we'll talk a little bit more about how our last weeks or so of testing have been, how we're both feeling. We'll talk about some of the new stuff that we got to look forward to. Obviously, you partook in some pre-releases I have not gotten to yet, unfortunately, out of some life stuff getting in the way. But, we can still talk about it. And we can also talk about some of the new cards we can expect in our November set, which I think look very interesting. And, of course, we do Squawk and Seas every week, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But, George, I'll start how I should start any conversation. How's your day? How's your Labor Day weekend?
Labor Day weekend was fun. Sunday I had a fantasy football draft. I got to see all my friends. Year 20 of that league. So it was pretty cool to celebrate that. I thought I drafted a pretty sick team. You shared a team that you sent me to. I thought you fleeced your league. I was like, how's this a 12-man league? This doesn't make any sense. But then, yesterday, I keep forgetting today's Tuesday. Because yesterday was Monday, Labor Day. I did absolutely nothing because I was, babysitting myself basically from the weekend, the Saturday, the party that we had there after the draft. But, last week we talked about Tuesday stinking. This is the worst Tuesday of all time. Last week I thought stunk. This is the worst Tuesday you possibly could imagine. It's like a Tuesday masked as a Monday.
Yeah, nothing is worse than a Tuesday moonlighting as a Monday. Usually when I go to work on Mondays, my boss and I will order coffee in the morning. We usually brew it ourselves throughout the week, but on Mondays and Fridays we buy it for ourselves. And I came in, he's like, "You want me to make the pot today?" And before he even finishes his sentence, I'm like, "No, we're getting Dunkin' Donuts." Like I need to make this feel the most like a Monday as I can in the worst way possible. But yeah, we both partook in some fantasy sports this weekend. I am truly shocked you've been in the same league for 20 years. That's a lot.
Oh, man. I'm shocked that I have friends that have known me and put up with me for 20 years, to be honest. That's the crazy part about it. But, yeah, shout out to CFL, the Clifton Fantasy League. I'm the commissioner. They somehow chose me to be the leader of that. I gave a nice speech in the beginning. Took us down memory lane. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, I got to say.
Yeah, listen, if anyone that knows you, from our immediate circle, you give a great speech. So
thanks, buddy.
It is one of your strong suits, right next to being handsome.
Oh, and, you must be. Something's got to be around the corner. You're buttering me up right now.
Yeah, in a constant state of waiting for the other shoe to drop. But yeah, in terms of my fantasy league, yeah, I totally fleeced these guys. I've been in this league with my cousin for the last like 5 years or so, and even I kind of looked at my team. I had the third pick in my draft, so I'm like, okay, I'm not in a terrible spot, but like my back-to-back picks are a little scattered apart. I found a strategy that worked for me last year was just to kind of go hard on wide receivers and then worry about the rest later. I think as long as I have strong, a strong core there, I'll be fine. And for whatever reason, like the guys around me were just picking these awful players. Like I think Malik Neighbors was like sitting at like the top, like, the best available player for like 6 picks in a row. And I'm just like, I refuse to draft any, Giants position players this season.
Yeah.
And there's a guy that I think he got the 4th pick. He picked right behind me. Yes. And he was like, man, I don't know how I picked 4th and I projected second to last in the league. And I'm just like, well, yeah, because your team sucks, dude. Like, I don't quite know what to tell you.
Because you were sleeping the whole entire draft, apparently, and just not taking the right guys. Hey, did I come in here thinking that we were going to have the Pokemon and NFL crossover? This crossover that people need. Maybe we have a whole another genre of podcasts on our hands here. Not even sure.
Yeah, yeah. We could talk a little more about that, in a different avenue. But I'm excited. I came in second in my league last year, so I'm looking to.
I came in second in my league last year.
Yeah, look at us. This is our year for us.
Being the first losers, yeah.
Yeah, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, unfortunately. Yeah. But no, this year I'm projected to win my league, and if I don't, heads will roll, including my own. But you guys aren't here to talk about that. You're here to listen to us talk about Pokemon. So, yes. George, both of us, we do our little weekly roundup with each other. I only attended one event last week. You attended a couple. So talk about how things went on through the week for you. How are you feeling? I've had you. Obviously, we're both testing for Baltimore. How are you feeling in terms of what you got going on?
Well, like a regular league day on Wednesday at our local store. I went 3-0 with Zard again. So I've been feeling really great about it. And then Friday was a challenge at our other local store. Big tournament. I think there was 27. I don't know. Rob's going to hear this and kill me for not knowing the number, but there was a lot of people there. And round 1, I actually got paired against Tiki, which is just not. No, I love
God
Tiki.
bless.
I think he's a good kid. He's a good kid. He was playing H-Box, and I was like, all right, good. Like, we're chilling. We're going to cruise through this. Come to find out, on my first deck search, I priced 2 Charmanders. And I only play 3. So, and no Thornton because I'm silly goose. But, I'm going through it, and somehow, some way, we ended up 1-1 prizes, and he needed absolutely everything, like a Night Stretcher, 2 Dark Patches, which I never really seen in a lot of builds, which I was surprised to see. And he actually took the last prize on me, so good on him. It was good. And I actually lost to another H-Box player. When I look back at it in my head, I think I let him get away with some things that they shouldn't at the end of the game, just because I misplayed. And, I learned my matchup on H-Box, and I come to realize that deck is definitely not a deck I would be playing. I definitely don't recommend anybody playing it, but I can see the appeal to it. I can see why it's good. Single prize decks are cool. They are chill. But for the most part, man, like you gotta go through like your whole deck. Like you're in constant like worry of decking out with that list, because you're just Pokestopping every single turn, milling cards, playing Explorer's Guide, the Explorer card, getting rid of cards, Sada, drawing 3. Like, you're just running through that deck, and if you can outlast them, you could probably outdeck them at the end.
Yeah, I think Ancient Box it's been very popular on the internet the last couple of, I'd say, week or so. It's definitely gained some polling position with certain testing groups. I think a lot of it has to do with because it doesn't have any abilities. If you're just playing like the strict, single prize variant of Ancient Box. You don't have to worry about getting your ability shut off, which means you actually get to play it outside of Radiant Greninja. But like, you play enough mill in that deck to where you can mow through your deck and get what you need, the numbers you need to hit anyway. So I think that's why the deck is so popular, because you're expecting, big basics to be pretty good. If you don't play the Walking Wake, which you kind of are forced to, truthfully, because it's a way better card in Ancient Box than Koraidon is right now. But if you choose to play the Koraidon instead of the Walking Wake, then you don't have to worry about getting Iron Hands for 2 prizes. You strictly just give up 1 prize card the whole game. And you're just a very classic mid-range deck. Your early game probably isn't going to be that great. You're going to go down by a couple of prizes. But once you start getting to, the middle, turn 4 or 5 of your game or whatever, you're forcing your opponent to take the 6 card prize raise. You find yourself ramping up some crazy numbers with a 1 prizer. So I can see why the deck is so good right now. Personally, every game I've tried to play of it stinks. And that's usually my type of deck. I like low to the ground single prize decks that can hit really hard. But like you said, you're just in constant resource management mode. It is kind of a stressful play because of that. But at the same time, I do think it's not a terrible play. I think it's gonna have the same problem that Reggie Drago might have going into Worlds, where it might be a little too hot right now. I think enough people know about this that it is something you might have to start at least going through the motions of figuring out how you play against it. I played against Ancient Box at the one weekly I went to this week, and I got absolutely poop housed. I played Lugia and I got absolutely demolished. But granted, I played a lot of weird matchups that I think 2 of them I'm not really going to expect to have to worry about too much. Being Arceus, it was the Arceus with Dusknoir, the checkmate deck, and Ancient Box, which I think is just inherently a bad matchup for me. So not a great day at the office for me. Didn't feel great about it, but I've been testing a couple other things online. I've been really liking Goldengo. That's a deck that's always been one of my pet decks that I've been leaning towards. So if I went to this challenge on Friday, I probably would have played that. But you'll see. We still have I think we both wanted to make a promise to ourselves by the 1st of September that we kind of found something that vibed with us, and then we're just going to kind of iron it out. And, whatever happens, happens. So I think we're both kind of at that point of no return, and we're both going to be playing Quad Thorns. That's what it sounds like. So.
yeah, right. Never, ever. No, I mean, the list I've been playing for Zard, I'm pretty much locked in on it. I don't really see myself tweaking anything. If I do and I get convinced to tweak something, I'm going to be really mad at myself. So I just don't want to touch the list. I just know it so well that I can just go in and out of it and know exactly what I'm doing. And I don't really see myself changing anything. So, we'll see how it goes. I just can't wait to go to Baltimore.
I'm also very excited for Baltimore. It's been a while since I've got to actually enter a regional. I did not get to enter NAIC. The last regional I entered was Charlotte, almost about a year ago.
Oh, wow.
So, because of my surgery, I had to miss a lot of time.
Right.
So because I was going to go to Orlando, but it was the same week I got surgery. And I was going to go to Indy and other stuff too, but I'd had no vacation days left. So I've been kind of riding by the seat of my pants the last couple of weeks. Can we still register for Louisville? Is that still a thing we can do? Possibly?
I'm pretty sure it's not closed yet.
I don't think it's capped yet either. So we'll give it another week. We'll see how we do.
Yeah.
We'll see how
I already started looking at some restaurants. I posted that one. Did you able to check it out?
It looks good. I'm into it.
I mean,
it's fun.
To me, I always get weary because I'm bougie. Like I'll go to the fancy restaurants. I like to. I don't really. Not to say I'm rich by any means, but I'll spend money. I feel like I'm a pretty generous person as well when it comes to that. So I don't mind going to a place like that, but I did see they have a $20 burger on there. Sure, is that expensive for a burger? But it is a cheaper meal. Like a chicken sandwich under $20. But yeah, some of the dishes on there are kind of pricey, and I was like, I don't know how people are going to react to this, paying $40 a steak for when they're going to a regional, but. I don't know. Looked like a swanky place. We could always change it, but I made the reservation. So
Yeah, I'm not against just going out for like a nice meal with our friends the night before we have to like sit down and eat convention center hot dogs for the rest of
Right.
the weekend. So
That's what I always
you
say.
know,
Like the night before, let's get a nice meal on us. Get back early. Do some more testing and get to bed. Get up early and because me, I also like to get to the convention center very early. So
yeah.
yeah. So
Oh, and while you talk about that, I have something else. We're going to play a quick game of show and tell for the whole.
oh yes, so fun.
This is great for the audio medium. Ugh. All right, so now that I'm back, speaking of things we can do while we're in Baltimore, I hinted at last week that I got some mail from the lovely people at Alestrals, which is a card game. Yeah, which is the card game made by content creator A Drive. As the CEO of the company, they were lovely enough to send me a box, an influencer box of their product of their newest set that just came out. There's a whole Kickstarter. It was incredibly successful, and the game looks like a lot of fun. I haven't cracked any of this stuff open yet, so they sent me 2 booster boxes. They gave me a couple of blister packs, some exclusive cards, and they gave me 2 starter decks. So we can easily crack these open and have a little bit of turn our brain off while we're while we're in Baltimore after we've locked everything in and we're done testing. So
You know me, I'll play any game anytime.
yeah, that is what they say about us. Also, something we can do while we're in Baltimore is because it's also going to be the same weekend that Stellar Crown comes out, so we can get ahead of the curve with that. But also, you got ahead of the curve this weekend by entering the pre-release. So how is we do our pre-releases a little bit differently. I mean, I'm sure other places do this, but our Friday League Highlander games in Boonton, New Jersey, they do midnight pre-releases the night of, which are a lot of fun. So I highly recommend if anybody's in the northern New Jersey area, check out Highlander Games. Shout out to Rob, one of the best in the business.
Fantastic store. I think all the locals we go to, they all do a really great job. But Highlander just, they got room for days. So it's a pleasure. The pre-release was fun. Actually, way more people showed up for the midnight pre-release than the challenge as well. Believe it or not. At least it seems.
I can't
so.
say I'm shocked.
Yeah, at least it seemed that way. My pre-release kit was absolute trash. Not one single EX or like full art trainer, nothing in there. I got like the Drifloom and what's the ladybug Pokemon?
Ledian?
Ledian, there you go. I got that. Deck was absolute trash that I built. And I think I went 1 and 2. So that was a fun. But then with my prizing for the tournament, I did pull the Grand Tree, which that was mission impossible right there. That's all I care about because I'm a Zard bot. And I did pull a full art Lapras, which I thought was really nice. Until I went on Twitter and saw that everybody pulled the full art Lapras, and I no longer felt special.
That card will rot in the back of your binder until the end of time. So shout out to all of our Lair Moraine users. That card is funny. Someone will make that card work. It ain't going to be me, though. That's for sure. No. But yeah, I'm excited. Unfortunately, I wish I was able to go. I got kind of tied up, going to a wedding this weekend, so I was out of town for most of Friday and Saturday. But I'm excited. I think I might pick up a build and battle kit just to like have some extra packs open. But also, there's like a whole lot in the set that I'm really looking for. I'm pretty locked into the decks that I like right now, and all of them don't really play any of the new cards. If anything, I'd like to pick up some of what are going to be the staple cards. I think Terapagos is going to be very good. Obviously, you have to pick up the Area Zero Underdepths Stadium. That's going to be wildly playable. The Noctowl Hoot Hoot line is going to be huge for all of you. Shady Dealings and Teleon lovers. That card is basically a spiritual reprint, just you have to have a Terra in play. So I think all those cards I'll be able to pick up for cheap at some point. I'm also I really want to build the Cinderace deck, even though I know it's going to be hot garb. I absolutely love Cinderace as a Pokemon. Rabbits are some of my favorite animals, and Cinderace is super cool. So I will make that deck and do horrible with it because it's just worse Charizard the way you have to build it.
Yeah.
But I'm into it. I think the card's fun, and I think we can look forward to that in the cup next week. I think we got all the time in the world to go to Baltimore. We can easily stop at a card shop and pick up a booster. If everyone in the carpool buys one booster box, there's no way we can't all have what we need by the end of the trip. So
That's fair. I mean, I don't know if I want to do it that weekend. Depends. I don't know. I got to look at builds for Zard. I might have everything already. You know, I usually am like that. I do one thing and I get all the cards I need. I know.
I think the tree might be Cope, personally. I don't know how great that card actually is.
I don't know. I think you go first with it. If you get it, I don't know. We'll see. We got to play around.
We'll talk about it. But speaking of Charizard, the biggest piece of news I wanted to talk about this week is that we got a whole bunch of product news, as we do, every week it seems like. We got a couple of collection boxes that are confirmed coming out later this year, and one of which is this little Charizard EX League battle deck. So for those not familiar with what these are products that the Pokemon Company releases, I'd say once every quarter. They do one of these. They'll take like a tier 1 deck and they'll put it in a box for you. It's playable out of the box. Is it the most optimized? Probably not. But all the cards in there are confirmed good. They've done this with Mew EX. They've done this with Palkia V-Star. They've done it most recently with Miraidon, and I think Gardevoir was the one that came out last quarter. So, and you can get, again, a lot of really good playable cards in there. Mew EX, Lumineon. If you're playing Mew, you can buy 2 of these things and essentially have a playable deck out of it. And the one coming out in November for quarter 4, I guess, is Charizard EX, which features 3 copies of Terra Charizard EX, 2 copies of Pidgeot EX, and the big seller, a copy of Prime Capture. So, looking at the product here, George, I'm sure you're familiar with how these products works. Is this the best one of these? It has to be, right?
Didn't they make a Mew, though, as well?
Like a Mew VMAX?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about before.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, I think that one was also really good. I mean, this one, though, with the A-Specs, that could be the pusher that puts it over the edge there. But did you see the list completely?
Of all the cards in here, yes.
What Moltres is in there?
That's a good question. I'm actually going to see if I can pull that up right now.
Because the first thing I thought about it, right, when I saw Moltres.
Yeah.
I was trying to convince everybody we could play Magma Basin, have one prizer with Moltres in there, but it's definitely not that Moltres because there's no Magma Basin.
I want to say maybe that's a Moltres from Pokemon Go. Let me see here. Charizard.
It's just such a weird thing to put in there because I've never seen a Charizard list play Moltres before.
Yeah, it's definitely something interesting here for sure. I don't know exactly which Moltres this is. I don't think it's the one we're thinking about though. I think somebody posted a full photo of this online. I haven't been able to find it yet, but obviously I think the big selling point of this is that they put an A-Spec card in here, and not just an A-Spec card, the A-Spec card. The cost of Prime Catcher by itself on the market is like $30. This entire box costs $30, which is insane. I think that's awesome. I think making the game more accessible is a good thing. And like I said, outside of maybe like 3 or 4 cards, maybe change some of your energies around, this is a vastly more playable deck out of the rip than any of these other League battle decks have been in the past, and even include like the weird stuff like the Pidgeotto. That stuff that people just started putting in. So you don't have to be a loser like me and have to go dumpster diving through piles of bulk for one copy of a card that you knew you pulled from a GameStop pack like 6 months ago that you swear is somewhere in your room, but you can't find it. I'm projecting, but
I think the Prime Catcher being evolved is huge. I don't know if it's the A-Spec. I'm an unfair stamp enjoyer myself. But I will say, though, I'll say this. The the Prime Catcher is huge. Pidgeots are huge. And Charizard EX, I think we're still pretty expensive as well. So they just brought down the cost on all those cards tremendously, which some people could be mad about if that's what you're into. But I personally think it's great for the game. Like, why? Let's not make it expensive.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think the Charizard market might have come down a little bit because they've reprinted Charizard a couple of times. So I think the market on that might have come down a little bit. Prime Catcher, I'm here for the market on that tanking. I'm here for the collapse of the Prime Catcher economy. And Pidgeot, too. That card, for just being I think a base rarity, is still like $10-12.
Right.
I got lucky. I pulled like 3 out of my 4, like 4 or 5 Pidgeot EXs that I own. So I'm just built different.
Right.
So, that's the card I keep having in the pull. But I think this is great. Like I said, I think making the game more accessible is awesome. And like I said, even if you just change it like 3 or 4 cards in here, and you have basically a playable Charizard deck, and it's like bare bones. And my favorite thing about these decks is the dice. I love the damage dice, and I think everybody does too. So I'm very much into that. So, but yeah, will you be picking one of these up? You think?
Possibly? No, I have all the cards ready. Hold on one second.
Yeah, and while George gets up and does that, again, we want to thank you guys for checking us out on all of the socials, checking us out on the YouTube page. We are working on getting us on podcasting sites, so you guys can look forward to that in the future. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this product coming out in November. I talk as if November is forever away. It is September already, so we're not too far off from getting this on shelves. And I know for a fact that this has gotten a lot of my friends interested in playing the game. There's a few people I've talked to where they have just like very fringe interests in Pokemon. And they're like, yeah, I think one of my friends even said, hey, if you see one of these, grab it for me, please. I'll play the game with you. I'm just like, all right, cool. More people to weave into my web of nonsense while I play bad decks.
Well, the most exciting thing for me about it is that we all, we've talked about it on here. I've been playing Zard now since probably February or March, so a good 6-7 months. Everybody in the local scene knows that I'm probably playing Zard if it's a tournament, or sanctioned, cup or challenge. And they're like, going to be a lot more Zard players now, and the mirror is not easy. So it's just free wins for me. I know that mirror like the back of my hand.
All right, looking at some of the other products we got coming out here, not as impressive, but not only will the Prime Catcher market be crashing, the Teal Mask Ogerpon market is looking to collapse as well, as we have an Ogerpon EX Premium Collection also releasing in November. It will feature a baby Teal Mask Ogerpon as well as a full art Teal Mask Ogerpon EX that I believe is not even been released in Japan yet. And I believe you get a jumbo card on top of that. I'm not sure.
No, you get sleeves.
Oh, you get sleeves. Oh, even better.
The sleeves look nice too.
They'll look great on a pre-release deck in like 6 months for sure. when I'm picking this up. And I believe you get. Let's see here. I think you get 5 packs of cards in this as well, according to what this is possibly telling.
And you
me.
also get the trainer that swaps out
6
any
packs.
Ogerpon as well.
Yeah, for all you Ogerpon deck enjoyers, you get your Ogre's Mask. I think it's a cool looking product. We can kind of, I guess, piggyback that into the Blood Moon Ursaluna deck that we're also getting as well in the same vein. Also coming out in November. You get a promo. Blood Moon Ursaluna EX, as well as a Hoot Hoot and a Noctowl. Not the good Noctowl that we're going to be getting soon, but another Noctowl. And you get the Jumbo Blood Moon Ursaluna EX in this card, in this box as well. So, I mean, I will not probably be taking in this one because I own 3-4 Blood Moon Ursaluna EXs, but I think these boxes are cool. I think they look good on a shelf if you're a collector of those things.
Yeah, it's weird that they give you the Hoot Hoot, but Oh, and they do give you the Noctowl in there.
Yeah,
But
just
it's
not the good one.
It's not the good one, right? Okay, that's what it is. Yeah, that's unfortunate for sure.
Tough stuff for sure. But yeah, I mean, I like these box sets. I think they look cool. I don't know if I'm going to pick up either of these. I'll probably pick up the Ogerpon one just to have it, but I already have all my playable Ogerpons. I think this is just great because, these cards are, I don't know much about Blood Mooners for Luna. I think those prices aren't that bad unless they're trying to buy unless I think the Honey Barrel one is still like dummy expensive. But I just think making these cards more accessible is great. And the promos look cool. I'm into it.
I mean, these are all cards that are extremely popular in a lot of decks. So the cool thing about the Ursa Luna is that you're only playing one. So if you haven't pulled one yet, you buy the box. Now you can throw one in your list. If you have a list that's playing it already, you don't want to swap the decks, buy the box, throw it in your list. The Ogerpon is kind of tough because you're typically playing, 3 or 4 in every list. So you're not going to buy 3 or 4 of these boxes, I assume. But for the Ursa Luna, yeah, it's a great one-off Pokemon to add to a collection box. I agree.
Yeah, no, I'm very much into the idea of it. So, I'm looking forward to these. And like I said, these all come out in November if you guys are into that. It's going to be a very busy November if you're a collector. And I guess we can now transition into what I think is some fun stuff to talk about in a segment I am briefly calling New Card Tuesday. Because it's a Tuesday when we record the podcast, and we got some new cards to look at. So these are all cards that are coming out in the Paradise Dragona Japanese set, which cards we will be getting in our November set, Surging Sparks, which is very exciting. And also, I got very sad because so there was I don't know if you saw this or not, George, online, but there were these Sylveon EX and Cerulege EX decks that got released in Japan like about a week ago or so that we're not getting in Stellar Crown. We're instead getting in our November set. I don't know if you saw any of what those deck lists look like, but spoiler alert, just silly.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen those 2 cards, but, the ones you sent me over from Paradise Dragona, I guess we could just jump right into the first trainer, the item card there. That's kind of broken, the Disruptive Letter.
Yeah, Disruptive Letter is a new item card we are seeing in Paradise Dragona. Your opponent counts the cards in their hands, shuffles them, and puts them at the bottom of their deck. Then your opponent draws that many cards. You may play. And so the wording of this card is very confusing to me. It sounds like your opponent chooses the cards they shuffle, and then you get. Then it's so weird. So I don't understand how this card works.
No, so I think it's just weird the way that's translated right now on Poke Beach. I think it's just saying, hey, take the number of cards in your hands, realize how many there are. Okay, you have 5. Shuffle those 5 cards, then put them at the bottom of your deck, draw 5.
Okay. That makes more sense. That's pretty good. It's hand disruption on both sides, I guess, which does make it disruptive. So
it would be really good also if, say, someone has like an 8-card hand, deck is kind of getting low, they're in a good spot, throw down Disruptive Letter, draw the top 8 cards in your hand, and then you're losing all those other 8 cards. So you have like 20 cards left, Like I think that's like a good situation where this card works out. Because otherwise you're always just going to want an Iono, right?
Yeah.
So you're typically just going to want an Iono regardless on Fair Stamp if you play it. But I could see situations where this card could be really good.
This card sort of has control written all over it. So I'm sure those decks are going to find some ways to make this work. So sure, I'm sure it'll find its way into something. I'd like to see what sort of decks like put this in action before I give it.
I just thought of a really toxic combo with this card.
Okay.
The Exrosis, what is it? The
Machinations.
Yeah. Play that, go down to 3, shuffle and put them on the bottom of your deck, discard the rest of them. That's a pretty broken combo, brother.
That is pretty good. I can't say like I said, this has control written all over it. Let's go to what our next card.
Wait, hold up. Can you just imagine doing that to somebody? Hey, discard to 3. Someone's like looking at their hand. They're like, man, this stinks. Which 3 is the best? Okay, this 3. You know what? Now go ahead and put those at the bottom of your deck for me, please.
I also like cards like this because it saves it inherently does make the game a little faster because you don't have to shuffle them into your deck. You just put them to the bottom. I think granted the game is a little fast right now as it is in terms of pace, but I think anything that can sort of save you some time, shuffling your deck again when you can avoid it, is awesome. So
yeah, I agree.
Let's talk about Drasna. Drasna is a supporter card, and it reads, shuffle your hand in your deck and flip a coin. If heads, you draw 8 cards. If tails, you draw 3. Let me introduce you to my friend from, I forget what set this came out in. Isn't this just the same as Gambler?
Yeah.
Like the card from way back in the day?
Yeah, this is a bad card. If you play this card, you're absolutely insane, in my eyes. I think this is like a great pre-release deck card,
Yeah.
but this is pretty bad. There is actually a new card in Stellar Crown, right? It's called the new set, and
the next set coming out.
Yeah, the next set. That if your opponent is at 3 prizes, shuffle your hand into your deck, and then draw 8.
Lacey. Yeah, Lacey, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I think that's way better, than this card. They're effectively the same, just that you might have a chance to only draw 3 cards, which is really bad.
Yeah, that ain't great. I don't love that. It's tough, man. There's just so many good hand disruption cards in the game that why would you ever play something like this over like Iono, obviously, which is the best. But then you got things like, now granted, some of those, we're going to lose some of these cards, like Roxanne's going to rotate out. So, I think some of those late game hand disruption cards are fun, but this is just very much this hurts nobody but you. Like if you want to risk it all and, go for Drasna, by all means do it. But I think this card is I think the full art looks cool. That's about it. This is going to look great in a binder. Yeah. And in a pre-release, like you mentioned. Speaking of pretty cards, this next card I want to talk about is beautiful. We have the Cast Form Sunny Form coming out in Paradise Dragona. It's a basic Fire type 70 HP Pokemon. For a 1 fire energy, you have the Singe attack, popular move. Your opponent's active Pokemon is burned. For a fire and a colorless Sunny assist, move all energy from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon. This card looks really pretty. That's all I got.
Looks really pretty. Useful. Not sure. Obviously you think of Zard, maybe. Attach 2 to Zard, from Infernal Rain, attack with 50, and then move those 2 energies back off onto the Zard. Maybe. That's just me spitballing here, trying to be cute. I think it's not useful at all. But yeah, beautiful art for sure. I think it's really cool looking. That's for damn sure.
So this obviously confirms to me that they're going to reprint the other Cats forms. So I'm sure we're going to get a water one, and we'll get, I guess, the ice one. Well, I guess there's the water one. Yeah, they're both ice. Huh? How are they going to do that? That's weird. They'll figure it out. So I don't know. I think my favorite of the Cast forms were the ones that, like, if you they rotated out a while ago, but they're the ones where if you like have stadiums in your discard pile, you can attack for free. That deck was fun. When it existed.
You need like 8 in your discard, I think it was. Yeah,
it's something insane. And the last new card I would like we're going to talk about here is a new A-Spec card we're going to be getting called the Energy Search Pro. You search your deck for any number of basic energies of different types, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. The Goldengo man in me looks at this card, and I'm salivating at the mouth. So this deck is going to have, this A-Spec is going to have very niche usage, for sure. But in decks like that, like Goldengo, that want to have all the energy in your hands, I don't know, not bad.
Yeah, that's definitely good for that. But what do you think is better, to do this once in a game or search out stage one with hyper aroma?
Yeah, I think it's tough. I think the ace spec in question in Goldango has always been kind of, it's been a debate. People have been clamoring for prime catcher. Obviously, hyper aroma is very good if you're able to establish a strong enough board to take advantage of it. Goldango functioned fine before hyper aroma. And truthfully, it did fine before this as well. I think the problem Goldengo runs into is that you have these big Pokemon at the end of the game, and do you have the resources to get everything to pull that off? This card is it's reusable. You can put this back in your deck with something like Silene, and when you really need to take that big KO, this helps you be able to do so. So I don't know.
Yeah, but also it's only good early game too, right? Because you're probably going to be, like in a deck like Goldango, you're going to be discarding most of them, and then you're going to want to use superior energy retrieval anyway, because they're not going to be in your deck.
Yeah.
So I could see it. I think that maybe we don't know what the card is that's best for this right now. I could see that as well, but I could see this being good in some kind of Teal Dance Ogerpon deck. You got a bunch of Ogerpon out. Go grab a bunch of grass energy. Teal Dance the night away, and then and doing something like that. But I got to think that there's got to be a new card coming out that's going to make this better. But you know what, Kyle? With all these aspects that have been released, I still don't think much are better than Prime Catcher or Unfair Stamp.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the niche usage. I think in terms of just like the S tier, A-Specs, Prime Catcher, and Unfair Stamp are just really, really good. Then you have like the tertiary situational ones that just really depend on what deck you're playing. If you're a deck that wants to tank big hits, you play the Hero's Cape. If you're a deck that wants to maybe capitalize on big damage in a big opportunity, you play the Max Belt. If you're a deck that wants to set up your stage ones, like Goldango does, you play the Hyper Aroma. And then a lot of the other ones have just been kind of just very like meh, like mediocre, like the Neutralization Zone, cool, whatever. I'm looking at the quote tweets of this online, and I'm very into like some of the ideas people are crafting here. A popular one I'm seeing is the Grafii card that came out in what's this set here? This came out in Paldea Evolved. It has an attack called Colorful Graffiti, which reads you can discard as many basic energies as you like from your hand, and it does 40 for each basic energy you discard that way. So, it's cute, I guess. There's some niche iterations of this. But also maybe you can play this with something like the Cerula GX, a card that wants to have all that energy in the hand to discard it. But I still think you don't play this over like the Blender card that discards 5 from your deck. So I think like most situations, you're gonna find this deck's gonna find a niche home somewhere. But I still don't think most decks are gonna be better off playing either Stamp or Prime Catcher. Truthfully,
the only other deck that it could be good in, now I'm thinking about it, mentioning Goldango, possibly like a Chen Pao early on, right?
Yeah.
Grab 7 energy, knock out a big stage 2 EX. But I don't know. I think we've yet to see what card that's going to be good with.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm a Goldango truther. I think this deck's fun, so we'll see. But there's a lot to be had here. Again, these a lot of these. I think they're being very careful with how they like power creep some of these A specs. Like the ones that are good are like really good, but the ones that are bad are like if you're pulling a Poke Vital A, you're kicking yourself. You're leaving the store, and you're never playing Pokemon ever again. So.
Well, I've seen Poke Vital A played in like, I think it was like a Roaring Moon or like a Loyal 3 type S deck, dark deck. Yeah, I don't know.
Weird. There's a home for everybody somewhere, but we'll see what happens as we progress forward. George, you got any other thoughts on these new cards we looked at before we move on to the part that everyone shows up for? So,
well, no, I mean not on these cards, but back to like Stellar Crown. A lot of talk during that pre-release. I meant to say this earlier on that Garvantula and
Yes.
the Jotic, right?
Joltik, yeah.
Joltik. I'm so.
Joltik.
Do I even like Pokemon? I don't know. I don't know any other names. But I know what they are.
Yeah. The bug.
Yeah, the little bug, little electric bug. But a lot of people were saying, "Did you pull this? Did you pull this? I'll buy it off you. I'll buy it off you." And I was like, "Really? People are really that hype about it?" I know Harold was Hadel was saying, it's kind of broken with Blissey.
Yeah, well, I think what makes the card good is that second attack, the Fulgurite. By the way, I just realized this. I heard this in a Pablo Mesa Tablemon video, and I didn't realize this. My brain kind of shattered when I figured it out. All the stellar Pokemon, their secondary attacks all have like gemstones in their names, which is like really cool. Like I didn't really like it because the second attack for Galvantula is called Fulgurite, which is I think it's like a desert gem that gets formed by like sand and like lightning. When lightning strikes it, it's really cool stuff. But no, that attack is broken. I believe the energy cost on that is like weird. Galvantula EX.
Well, it's definitely fighting lightning. I want to say darkness.
Grass.
Oh.
Nope. Yeah, so you have so Galvantula EX, a stage 1, 260 HP Terra Pokemon for a lightning and a colorless. Your first attack is Charged Web. You do 110, and if your opponent's active Pokemon is an EX or a V, you do 110 more damage. So not a bad attack. 110 isn't a number to scoff at, and if you're hitting into a V or an EX, hey, 220. That's the magic number you want to hit on some of these decks anyway. So the second attack, Fulgurite, is where things get interesting. You discard all the energy from this Pokemon. It's a grass lightning fighting. You do 180 and you item lock your opponent. And item lock historically has always been really good. So I think that's the appeal of this deck where you're gonna be able to slow down your opponent's roll while you slowly try to rebuild your own. I can see why this card would be good with Blissey, because Blissey allows you to move energy around. So I don't know. I need to see it in practice. I think I watched an Omnipoke stream this weekend where they tried crafting the deck with the Reggies, which is interesting. So I think item lock has always been historically good, and I think cards like that are, very, very strong in any given format. You're seeing the Bayonet deck get a little bit of traction because of that.
Right. I did see this Reggie deck. Reggie, and then you use the stadium that you just said before. Right. So you got the stadium going, and then you put down all your Reggies, and then you attach from the special energy.
Right, yeah. It's interesting. I don't know, man. I just think someone much smarter than me is going to figure this out. And God bless them. Because I don't have the brain capacity to do that. And I think these, 4 stellar Pokemon, obviously the first ones we're getting, are going to be, I think, kind of pushed to the front of the pack. The only thing that is going to be interesting to see is how does the meta slow down at all with Stellar Crown? Because I've been watching a lot of testing streams, and I think a lot of the decks that are good now are going to continue to be good. I think, decks that can incorporate the Noctowl are going to be very strong. Being able to get, 2 of any trainer cards is very, very effective to help you get over the hump. A lot of decks are already playing Terra Pokemon, so things like Area Zero Underdepth, become very good. You can increase your bench size. I'm very interested in the Terrapagos card. I'm curious to see if anyone's going to be able to crack that second attack, especially if big basic Pokemon are going to continue to be good, because that attack prevents you from being damaged from the card is very wordy, the way it's set up. Terrapagos EX. Let me just pull this up. The way that they word some of these attacks, it just makes my brain hurt. There we go. That is in Japanese. Let's go back here. There we go. Crown Opal for a grass, water, lightning energy. You do 180, and during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic non-colorless Pokemon. So, you protect yourself from the big guys, which I think in retrospect is promising because you're a small, squishy, basic EX. So,
but not Weird Deer V. He'll come get you.
God bless you. He's coming for you. that guy's gonna get you.
He'll get you.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I would like to experiment with some of these cards a little bit further. Again, a lot of the decks that I am already playing don't really take advantage of a lot of these cards. So I'm not really like sinking my teeth into a lot of these, and I'm also like afraid of like what the oh my god, because I was planning on playing Lugia for until the brakes fell off, but then I looked at what that Sylveon card does, where like it shuffles 2 of your bench Pokemon back into your deck, and then it's like, ugh, I don't like that. That scares me.
Yeah,
I'm not really into that. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We still have a little bit of time before Stellar Crown even comes out, and who's to know that both of us are still on the fence about Louisville as it is, so we don't even know if how much of that format we're going to actually be really sinking our teeth into. But with that being said, we've arrived at everybody's favorite segment of the show, George. Squawk or Seize, the this or that question portion of the show where I ask you silly stuff and then everybody gets your hot George takes on what you feel about these things. We took a poll last week of what we were going to talk about this week. And the winner of that poll was fast food chains. So
yeah, we got some good interaction on it. Big thank you to everybody that posted that. We'll post that out on every Tuesday after we have our show, and Kyle and I could kind of talk about what we should put up there for next week. But this was a good one. I can't wait to do this one, to be honest with you.
I feel like everybody's internet rite of passage is to do like a fast food tier list at some point. So yeah. I think this is going to be our way of just kind of crossing that bridge. So I have a list of popular fast food chains up here in front of me.
Let's do it.
So I'm just going to just rattle up the list here. And we're going to start with some, I'm not going to give you I'm not going to give you fastballs right away. I'm going to give you a couple curveballs to start.
Okay.
See how you feel. So George, we're going to Squawk or Seize. Let's start with one that I actually didn't have this until maybe a few years ago for the first time ever. Squawk or Seize Arby's.
Oh, we have the meats. Arby's is pretty gross. They got good curly fries though.
They do have great curly fries.
Arby's sauce, low key, all right. There used to be one on Route 17 too, behind I think like the Wendy's over there. There used to be one back there, and I think like 2 years ago I was like, "Isn't there Arby's over here? I want something different." Get Arby's. I was like in the area, and it was just gone and vanished. So I was like, "Nah, that makes sense." We're definitely gonna seize Arby's. No one should be eating that roast beef, man. That's jank right there, dude. Like, I don't even know when they say we have the meats. I don't even know if it's really meat. I don't know what that is. It's like brownish, grayish colored rubber out of plastic. I'm not sure.
I will not be eating the fast food roast beef. That's for sure. Let's go with let's go with an interesting one here. Let's go Squawk or Seize Pizza Hut. What are your thoughts on Pizza Hut?
Pizza Hut's like a weird fast food kind of thing. It is fast food, kind of isn't. I'm more of a Domino's guy, so if that's the next one up there, I would Squawk that 100%. But stuffed crust when it came back out in the 90s, when it came out back then, it was pretty hype. And I don't know if you ever been to one, but they got Pizza Hut a buffet. And it used to be like $7 all you could eat, which is insane. You just go up there, they got pastas, they got breadsticks, they got pizza just laid out. I think I just talked myself into it. We're squawking Pizza Hut, man.
All right.
The Hut.
All right, I'm into it. Nobody out pizzas the Hut, man. That's for sure.
Except for Domino's.
All right, so we know that's true. So, all right, let's get to a bit of the meat of the lineup here. No pun intended. Let's go Squawk or Seize. We already mentioned her by her name. Let's go Wendy's.
Wendy's. I'm not gonna lie. Wendy's is really high up there for me. It's a squawk. I'll just flat out say it. Spicy nugs go hard. JBC, man, who doesn't love a nice JBC? And yeah, I truly do. I do love Wendy's. I actually probably get Wendy's once a week. Don't tell anybody. I do though.
I also love Wendy's. It is one of my personal favorites. Like the Baconator just opened doors for me that some people should have never had open for me personally. It's an insane piece of food.
Baconator.
All right, can't go wrong. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna combine these two because it feels wrong to pick between the two of them. I'm gonna give you two of the chicken chains. You're gonna Squawk or seize KFC and Popeyes.
I gotta pick one or the other.
Yeah.
All right. This is kind of hard. I think Popeyes has better overall chicken. But I'm squawking the KFC, man. I love the mashed potato bowl. The famous mashed potato bowl. Listen, I actually might go get one right after this, now that you said it. I love that thing. You know what also was really good with KFC? The Snackers. I don't know if they brought those back, but they used to have them. Yeah, KFC. Listen, if you're ever in the hood, you go get some KFC, dude. It's like that and Checkers. Like those are the two top things.
Famously, KFC sent me an influencer box in the mail about a year ago.
No way.
Yeah, they found a tweet that I made about the Double Down, and they're like, "Hey, we're bringing the Double Down back." For those of you who aren't familiar with the Double Down, it is a chicken sandwich where the buns are made out of fried chicken, and they put like bacon and cheese on it. It's an abomination. Nobody should ever eat it.
Insane, yeah.
It's an insane piece of food for sure. But they found a tweet that I made about it. Like, "Hey, we know you're a big fan of the Double Down. We want to bring it back." So they sent me a box in the mail with a crew neck sweater that was 3 sizes too small, so I gave it to my mom. 2 KFC gift cards, which was like, hey, free lunch for the week. So
that's pretty cool, man. It's a cool story. Yeah,
it was pretty sick.
I honestly, if it wasn't going up against each other, I probably would have squawked both. I do love Popeyes as well. Popeyes biscuits are the shiznit.
They are. Popeyes is my favorite fast food chain.
What is the line, Little Nicky? Popeyes chicken is a shiznit.
Yes. Popeyes is my favorite fast food chain, so I'm biased. Popeyes Black and Ranch, I could put that in a cup and I'd drink it. That stuff's delicious. All right, we're gonna close things out with some of the big ones here. Taco Bell, Squawk Cheese.
I am surprised you even asked this one. It's the GOAT. It's the GOAT. Oh, Taco Bell. Yeah, I eat way too much Taco Bell, and it shows. Yeah. Well, you know what the better question would be here? Squawker sees Taco Bell food items.
Ooh, okay, that's a fun one. All right, so let's so you're squawking your favorite on the menu. Let's seize your least favorite. So what's your favorite Taco Bell food item that you're squawking?
It used to be the grilled stuffed burrito back in the day. They got rid of that. So now that the Mexican pizza's back, I would squawk that, the Mexican pizza. And I'm going to seize one that people might be upset about, but it is overrated and I don't really care for it. The Crunchwrap Supreme. Season that,
hot
man.
Take.
It's really not that good. It's like there's much better things that you can get. It's overpriced. It's just, honestly, everything on the Cantina menu too is very good. But yeah, we're squawking Taco Bell. It's the go, and most importantly, squawking the Mexican pizza because that thing is outrageous, and there's nothing else like it in fast food. It's one of a kind.
All right, I don't want to give you a complete obvious one for the last one, so we're gonna take a little bit of a left turn here, ending things off. In my opinion, one of my fast food hot takes is that I really like this place, Squawker C's Burger King.
You really like Burger King? I don't know.
Yeah, I think Burger King's great.
You know, um, growing up, there used to be a Burger King across from the stadium where we had football practice. And I went to Burger King a lot after practice because my mom didn't feel like cooking. And I think I just kind of hate it now because of that. I do really like the original chicken sandwich a lot, the like long
Oh,
one.
the long one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And when they do the Italian version with the marinara, that goes pretty hard as well. You know what? I talked myself into it. We're squawking Burger King.
There we go.
Yeah,
All
I do
right,
love fast
but
food.
yeah, fast food's great, man. I mean, listen, I used to weigh over 300 pounds, and it's not for a good reason. I love to eat fast food. So, what's your take on? I know people are going to be dying to know this. What's your take on In-N-Out? You ever had In-N-Out before?
Yeah, I had In-N-Out for the first time in Arizona this year. It's good. I think it's overhyped. I would probably seize it because of the hype, because it kind of pissed me off, the lines and everything. And then when I got it, I was like, yeah, it's like okay. I don't really, I didn't really understand why people like it so much. It's just a cheeseburger, you know. Like I don't know. I personally like McDonald's regular cheeseburgers a lot. I think I'd rather just have that, but not actually. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's obviously better than that. But if I'm just going for fast food, I'm going to be like a scum bucket anyway. Just give me a McDonald's cheeseburger, White Castle, even a Whopper, like anything. Like, I don't need like the In-N-Out hype. I guess because it's just not here on the East Coast. I'm probably wrong, but yeah, it's pretty overhyped.
I've always been a big proponent of for whatever reason these two get lumped in together all the time, like the In-N-Out versus Five Guys debate. I've always been a Five Guys fan. That's one of my
I
favorite.
love Five Guys, yeah.
Yeah, in terms of like the place that are just like in the middle, like sit down, fast casual restaurants like Panera Bread, Shake Shack, like places like that. Like I love Five Guys. That is one of my favorite places to eat at. So yeah,
Five
you
Guys
guys got.
is great.
Oh, wait, hold on. We can't. I was mistaken. I do have one more.
Okay.
This might count, maybe.
All right.
But I feel like us as people, I would feel very upset
I think I know
if
you're
I
going
didn't
with
bring
this.
this up. Applebee's.
Yeah, we're squawking the Applebee, the bees. I mean, it's really it's something special to go play some cards and go to Applebee's afterwards, you know?
I agree.
Sometimes have a little margarita, maybe a little beer, of course, some chicken wonton tacos. Sometimes you just get a Sprite and a quesadilla. Who knows? But every single time, Applebee's, it's where friends meet. It's eating good in the neighborhood, you know? And
Yeah.
no, I appreciate, you know, a lot of people don't realize this podcast really came to fruition at Applebee's.
It's true. We did discuss it over a very romantic dinner of spinach dip and chicken wings. So, yeah, listen, people, I know Applebee's is a very, it's a very hot, hot issue for some people. One of my very good friends who I just did a podcast this last week, my friend Cam, he hates Applebee's with every fiber of his being. He's had some bad experiences, so I understand. It ain't for everybody. But man, it's tough, man. I love half price apps. Everybody that's a high school student in the area. Everybody's done half price apps like once or twice. Before. We all know what we're getting ourselves into. So
It's just so perfect. Like after you go play cards, you're a little hungry afterwards. You go get half off apps. Chicken wonton tacos are phenomenal. It's just, I don't know. We go there, you spend $20, not even. You can't do that and hang out and in this economy anymore. So, thank you, Applebee's, for being true to you. Eating good in the
not
neighborhood.
sponsored, by the way.
Yeah, I would love for you to sponsor us, Applebee's. I'll do anything.
We'll work on that one. But that's going to be it for this week's episode. So, George, we tried to keep it around an hour, and we did a pretty good job of that. So, we're getting real good at this. So, yeah, let the people know where they can find you, George.
Pony Bottle Champ. And if you want to add me on PTCGL, it's Pony Bottle Champ, but no vowels in the beginning. So PNYBTL Champ on Pokemon Trading Card Game Live.
yeah, we're trying to get our reps in as much as we can before we go to regional next week. We have exactly one more episode before Baltimore comes out, so I think we'll have one more good discussion, and we'll see what goes down there. But yeah, you guys can check me out at Koopa NJ across platforms. Obviously, we have this podcast that comes out every Friday, 12:30. Coming soon to a podcasting platform near you, like we said in the middle of the show. We're currently working on getting that on a feed site. You guys can check out my other show, Cooped Up, if you guys want to hear me talk about pop culture stuff. I had a episode last week where I talked about the Sonic 3 trailer. That's on YouTube right now. The audio-only version is currently being cooked right now, so I got that going up. That'll be up wherever you get your podcasts. And yeah, thanks for checking us out, guys.
And I think next week we're going to have our first guest, right?
We're going to try. We can see if we can get our first guest on next week.
I think we are. I think we are going to. A lot of you have been asking, so.
Yeah, if not next week, then the week after, we'll make sure to get a guest on.
Absolutely.
So, but we've heard your cries. We're gonna get someone on here soon. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, safe battles, trainers.
Peace.